Miriam, you are
I'm sure
you
I
are
am,
a very
Michael.
prominent, you're a very prominent spokesperson. You're a voice. You're a very prominent convert to Islam. You have a voice.
I'm not. I don't call myself a convert.
Okay,
so don't call me one.
whatever it is you want to call yourself, you have a voice. Here are some problems that are coming up, which have been exposed in schools that seem to be teaching very seriously unpleasant things, and they're being taught by some extremist Muslims.
So as you guys are about to see, Douglas Murray is about to shine a light about the truth of Islam. And as you guys can see, this woman of Allah is apparently defending Islam, but he points out the hypocrisies of Islam, and not only that, but the danger to our liberal societies. And the reason why he points this out, as you guys may know, because Islam is actually not only anti-woman, but it's anti-woman rights and everything that they support for, and anything that modern day feminists stand for. Islam is totally against that. If anything, it even teaches in Sharia law that you can throw homosexuals off of the roofs of buildings because they come out as gay. And that's what it teaches in Islam. And so he actually points out the hypocrisies and liberal ideology and them supporting Islam. And let's see what happens next.
To the state schools, let's get back to this particular issue and the alleged extremism that has been going on. Not the Trojan horse context. We don't want to conflate two issues here. But Douglas Murray, you know, 95% of children in a particular area are of the Muslim faith. You were complaining in your article in The Spectator that in one primary school music was banned. That's kind of another issue, but raffles and tombolas were banned. I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to encourage Muslim children to gamble? What's your problem with that? It should reflect the nature of the school.
Yeah, so first they came for the tombolas.
For what?
Look, the problem
gambling
going on
wrong
here,
in those communities.
The problem going on here is we're in the middle of a debate. I mean, the nation is going through something very substantial change, and I think that what we've been discussing in recent days and what we've been discussing this morning kind of reflects this. I mean, until very recently, you know, if you said to people, and it comes back to the British values thing as well, if you said to people until very recently, what is Britain, what are British values, you'd have got a fairly clear reply along the lines of, you know, a Protestant Christian country, we have institutions of church and state and monarchy and so on, which represent the country. As one of the results of mass immigration of recent decades, there has been a substantial change in the country. All sorts of good things have come from that, and some negatives have. But one of the things that has come from it is this confusion about what it is we are. We want to be open and tolerant. We want people to be able to practice their faiths. We want people to be able to express themselves and live the lives they want to live. What we're finding it very hard to do at the moment, and I mean the French secular example has already come up, is to work out where our lines are drawn as a nation, because they're not clear at the moment.
It's impossible to draw those lines, isn't it?
It may prove impossible. It may be that we do something like the French state did and try to draw very clear lines. That's what you've heard in recent days. There's a bit of it already this morning, that, you know, there's a problem with some schools that are actually, you know, state secular schools that happen to have had...
How bad are these problems?
The problems exposed in Sir Michael Wiltshaw's report are pretty serious, and there's more to come.
Really, what's so serious in the report?
I think, for instance, I mean, Wiltshire himself says that these children are at risk of cultural isolation. There have been findings of children, for instance, being taught in assembly to chant anti-Christian chants and so on. This is very unpleasant sectarian stuff.
Do you know that
So as you guys can see, he brings up some very valid points. If you guys not only look at the United Kingdom, but also America and many Western nations, we actually self-identified as great Christian nations. And that's what made us such great nations. And this is why people all around the world, from the Middle East, from South America, from Southeast Asia, all decided they want to move to our nation because they were great Christian nations that were built on Judeo-Christian principles. Regardless if our leaders were satanic or not, the people, the actual people of these nations agreed with these Christian Judeo values. And we actually followed them and put them inside our political spectrum that we all agreed upon. And this is the reason why we were such great nations, financially, politically, socioeconomically. We had so much liberty and freedom. But the way things are digressing today in our Western nations, unfortunately, because of Islam and liberalism, it's not going in the direction that we want it to go. And it's not going in a direction that is great for our future or for the future of our nation. And that's all he's calling out, because yeah, sure, Islam does say some good things, for example, and this is the contradictory double standard that Muslims will use, right? You know, if Islam is false, then why would Allah tell you to not steal, or why would Allah tell you to not lie? Well, it makes it very clear in scripture, right, that Satan, he's not gonna, what basically he does is, again, he's the master of deceivers, like it says in the Quran. But not only that, but Satan, he's not, it's like this double standard that they hold against Christians, right? Because the Bible tells you the same thing, not to do that. But then they'll say, well, you know, Christianity's false and Islam's true. It's hypocritical. But also we do know that Satan, he does this tactic where he'll give you a lot of truth with some lies. And that's kind of the issue. So yeah, sure, it might say not to gamble in the Quran, but it also tells you to slay the infidels. It also tells you to kill people that aren't Muslim, right? It'll tell you to kill people that are pagans, that are Jews, that are Christians. All the infidels, kill them. That's what it says. It also teaches you certain concepts such as Taqiyya, right? Which is basically to, you know, tell people that you can lie for the purpose of furthering Islam. So let's say if I'm in a country like America and the majority of people here are Judeo-Christian values, right? So I'll go ahead and pretend that I agree with them. And then after we as Muslims are larger numbers, then I can go ahead and tell them the truth, that I'm actually Muslim and I support this and that view. And that's what Muslims have done all throughout different societies and have broken many nations, such as Iran. They're in the process of doing that to Lebanon, Egypt. I mean, so many countries in the Middle East and Northern Africa, they've done that too. They're even in the process of doing that to Nigeria as well. So this isn't something new. This isn't Islamophobic. This is the reality, unfortunately, about Islam, what I'm saying. Well, let's go ahead and see what they have to say.
Douglas Murray, you can't force people to believe things. You can't shoehorn people into a particular Douglas Murray-shaped,
I have no intention.
David Cameron-shaped Britishness.
No.
Can you?
No, I mean, this is part of. By the way, just very quickly, I mean, on this matter of this, I mean, I do think that one of the things.
But address that issue about.
Okay, can I just mention first? One of the interesting things that's come up in recent days and weeks, I think, over this whole Trojan horse business, is I think that some Muslims in this country, in particular, a lot of Muslim spokespeople, a lot of Muslim groups have been furious about these revelations and are now denying them. They're still denying them. And this is something like happened in the Catholic Church over the paedophilia scandal. People just don't want to admit it. They don't want dirty laundry to be aired in public. They generally think that, and that's why there's still this denial even now. There's an official report by Sir Michael Wilshaw. It's found some very disturbing things. Some people still think that they don't exist.
Is this the same Sir Michael Wilshaw who just did a U-turn on what God did or didn't tell him?
But Miriam, the thing, either you think this has all been, do you think this has all been made up?
I think
do you think it's all been made up?
What I actually know is that there are serious governance issues, there have been internal administrative issues, whether there are issues of extremism, which is what you're peddling, and what in fact the publication you work for is peddling by publishing one of the worst covers in this country that I have ever seen, suggesting that young children are vehicles for extremism and terrorism. You should be ashamed to be associated.
Can I just give, this is a very good example of the problem. Miriam, you are a very prominent spokesperson. You're a voice. You're a very prominent convert to Islam. You have a voice.
I'm not. I don't call myself a convert.
Okay,
so don't call me one.
Whatever it is you want to call yourself. You have a voice. Here are some problems that are coming up, which have been exposed in schools that seem to be teaching very seriously unpleasant things, and they're being taught by some extremist Muslims. Why, in this debate, you first of all deny that that is going on, and secondly, think the problem is a spectator cover cartoon.
I've never denied that there are issues.
I do not understand.
On this,
the problem is not the spectator cover.
As you guys can see, he calls her out pretty much for supporting these issues, and then she comments Taqiyya saying that she never at all said that she supports these issues, but he's just calling it out for what it is, guys. And I'm so tired of, it's not just people in the UK, it's in the whole Western world. I'm so tired of people being soft and afraid to be, what is it called, politically incorrect. Like, bro, who cares? Who cares, bro? I don't care if someone cancels me. Like, bro, it's just, it's ridiculous, guys. The world that we live in, that people are afraid to be politically incorrect or afraid to be canceled. Who cares, guys? We have to stand for the truth, because if we don't stand for the truth now, guys, these Muslims, they're growing in numbers. They will overtake us if we don't talk about it now. And these are things that we have to talk about, because if not, guys, the virus gets worse and worse and worse. You can't just ignore it. You have to actually deal with the root of the issue, guys. And as you guys can see, the craziest part about it is she's probably like some kind of liberal Muslim. And there's so many liberals in the comment section. There's so many liberals that applauded her, right, in the background. It's like, bro, you're applauding her and she's not even making any good valid points. What, because she's a Muslim, a Muslima? It's just, oh, gosh, guys, there's so many double standards that people have, because they truly have an antichrist spirit. But you can see how filthy and disgusting Islam is, guys. But yeah, as you guys can see, you know, he provided really great points on how Islam is negatively impacting the future generations and why it needs to be something resolved with. Like, even in France, he even promoted that idea of what they did. I think they did something along the lines of you can't wear hijab or something, and that's totally reasonable, because you have to realize we're not Islamic countries. Why is it okay for Islamic countries to impose their views, but it's not okay for us to do that in our great nations? Why can't we do that? You see, that's where liberalism becomes an issue, because Muslims are allowed to kill us for being gay, for being Christian, for being atheist, for not following Islam. Whatever the heck you want to believe in, or whatever your ideology, philosophy, or lifestyle is, they're allowed to do that to us, right? I'm not saying I identify as gay or atheist or anything like that, but what I'm saying is, like, that's what people in the Western Hemisphere agree with. You're either like, so you're gay, you're atheist, Christian, Buddhist, whatever you are, right? It's hypocritical for them to be able to kill us and throw us off buildings. We don't have that same standard for them. But we just, like, we're like, hey, we don't want to kill you guys because we don't follow false prophet Muhammad, but we just want you guys not to be in our country. Is that really so racist or xenophobic? It's not, guys. Nothing about that is racist or xenophobic. I don't have an issue with Middle Eastern people, man. They make really good food. Middle Eastern people are very nice. They're very hospitable. They have very good family structures. I don't have an issue with them. I have an issue with Muslims, though. I don't have an issue with Northern Africans. I have an issue with Muslims, though. I don't have an issue with Western or Eastern Africans. I have an issue with Muslims, though. I don't have an issue with Southeast Asians. I have an issue with Muslims, though. Right? So we have to make this distinction. Just because I have a problem with Islam doesn't mean I'm racist, and it doesn't mean I'm xenophobic. I love people from all around the world. I've visited different countries in different continents. I love their food. I love their culture. I love their hospitality. And I think that there are certain things that even we in the West can learn from some of them. But as far as Islam, Islam is a disgusting thing that prowls on the innocence of people and the ignorance of people. And this is something that should be eliminated from the face of the earth. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think I was too harsh or too cruel in my approach about this? Or do you guys think that what I said is correct? Please go ahead and subscribe, turn on notifications, smash that like button, and comment what you think below. God bless.